You are now entering the Blakelyverse. Hello, this is Winston Blakely, creator of Little Miss Strange and head of Blakelyworks Studio. Let's focus on today's video, and I hope that you enjoy it and come back often to see more.
I love art books, but what if you wanted to make your own art book to showcase your artistry? Then this is the episode where you can see my own version of the collectible book called Aura, The Art of Winston Blakely. Let's get started. A nice introductory page, what they call a frontispiece. All right, Dark Edge Fantasy proudly presents Aura, The Art of Winston Blakely. Here's the table of contents. 6 chapters. We're only going to look at 2. Here's the introduction with some of the major characters that I have created and published throughout the years. Some of my freelance projects. My main character, Little Miss Strange. She's being featured here for a couple pages under the title, Strange Origins. And now, Chapter 1, Sword and Soul and Sorcery. Scorpia is Little Miss Strange, who is a black alien sorceress who lives in a temple called Satu. This particular picture is called the Sorceress. Over here, we have another character I created called the Warrior Mysterian. He is a combination of Doctor Strange and Conan the Barbarian. That's quite wild. Okay, so let's keep looking. Here is the warrior female I created called Azana, Sister of Blood. Here is just a I would say freelance or fine arts type of illustration depicting a prophetess. And I kind of drew this in Photoshop and added these colors with certain filters and whatnot. I like this piece a lot. Here is another comic book character that I created called Kotos the Dragon. He is the king of the dragons, and I have 2 stories about him in a book called Immortal Fantasy, which I'll try to show later in another video. This is one of my freelance assignments. It was called Tales of Sword and Sorcery. It's featuring a scene from a story called Sago the Bowman. This is from a horror comic book assignment, or I guess you could call it a fanzine. There's no name for this particular piece that I can think of. Over here, more illustrations from Tales of Sword and Sorcery. This is a watercolor shot of Azana, Sister of Blood. Over here is Little Miss Strange, an illustration of her. And I try to do my Doctor Strange, Steve Ditko type of thing here. Here is Kotas the dragon. The very first illustration I did of him, and also the cover to the other book I just mentioned, Immortal Fantasy, which is an anthology book. Here is another one of my freelance gigs. This is a sailor called Changa, and I illustrated his adventures in a novel called Changa's Safari. This is one of the illustrations I was hired to do. Over here, more Tales from the Sorcery. This is a story that deals with, sorcery versus Christianity. And that's about all I can describe it. And opening up dimensions. It's almost like a H.P. Lovecraft type of thing. Here is the Warrior Mystery again. Another prominent close-up showing the energies that he can control. Feature image of Little Miss Strange. And this is her trophy room where she has certain items that she collected during her adventures. Here's Kotas the dragon with his wife Urella fighting some weird blob creature from some nameless dimension. Here is a computer drawing of Azana, and I like it, and it's just here to fill up the book, I guess. Okay, here is the cover to Changa's Safari. This is a painting. This is done with water-based oil paints. And it's an 18 by 24 piece. And I just put these African motifs around it to make it look interesting. More Kotas the dragon images here. Watercolor piece. The Warrior Mysterian again, with, certain filters I found on Photoshop, just to try to make it look as spiritual as I could, or Dr. Strange looking. This is Little Miss Strange as a child. And I don't know if you can see this little figure here, but that's the pixie that's is her sidekick. Here we have Azana again, fighting some creature in some temple or ancient ruins. End of chapter 1. Chapter 2, science fiction scracks back. This is an illustration for a book called Brain Tablet. And the character's name is Kashmir Jones. It's a takeoff on Adam Strange, the DC comic book character that used to teleport from Earth to this planet called Ran. This is an original character called Space Wolf, which I am working on right now, doing the lettering for. I kind of designed this to be like a heavy metal kind of poster or back cover. Over here is another one of my top level characters called Positron, who also is the lead feature in Immortal Fantasy. We'll get to that later. Here is his sidekick called Shatang, who is also his wife. For some reason, I like married characters. Okay, over here is one of my assignments that I got paid for a magazine called Perihelion. Here's more Perihelion stuff in a more humorous vein. Space traffic scene. Here's another scene. Here's Space Wolf making a rescue of some alien princess fighting at the opposition, you could say. Here is Shatang again, Positron's companion, in just a quick poster. Space Wolf again, victorious over some alien creature. positron again in some dungeon, fighting to get out of there, and being rescued by his companion, Shatang. This is a sexy version of Shatang in lingerie. I once did a book when I used to work for Rick Buckler's Visage studio, and we was told to create a lingerie version of our female characters. This piece over here is the same thing. They both appear in the same book, and that was during the late 90s. Okay, we're almost at the end. Now this is another version of Shatang, and that's it. Now, I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll look to purchase the book when you can at Amazon.com. We'll be back with another episode soon where I will discuss some of the other things that I mentioned previously in the first chapter. All right, thank you. I hope that you enjoyed this video and share it with your friends. Take care.